I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. F it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
All right, we welcome you in. It's another edition of the Daily Puck Drop on a Monday. We welcome you in after the long weekend. We've got Mariners winning, again, 9 straight Seahawks dominance on the road. We'll talk to Michael-Shawn Dugar of The Athletic coming up today. Bill Krueger of Old School Baseball. Jimmy Moore, the go-to guy, joins me here in a few seconds. Yes, we will lick our wounds about the ass-kicking down in Texas. But the Daily Puck Drop, your daily podcast, every single day on all platforms, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. And every day we come via the Limbach Lumber Studios. They are your number one trusted source in all lumber needs. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them at limbachlumber.com. Old School Service, they've been around so long that Hugh Millen used to be illegally, now legal, I guess today, paid there to do work. That's how old they are at Limbach Lumber. Yes, they are proud Huskies, and boy, will they be giving me a lot of shit this week. Cannot wait. All right, the social media platforms to follow this just wonderful show. Puck Sports on X, Instagram, and Blue Sky, and Puck_sports on TikTok. And you can find us on Facebook as well. And you can go to pucksports.com where you can sign up to become a Pucks Posse member. We encourage you to do so. Again, they're at pucksports.com. He joins me on Mondays. Usually, sometimes Wednesdays. It's a hit or miss on Fridays. Actually, the hit or miss is on Wednesdays. And he looks great. He's with us. No hat today. Hair is combed. He's wearing his 1998 Rose Bowl sweatshirt, which this school will never, ever appear in the Rose Bowl ever again. Ladies and gentlemen, he's such a big deal. You can find his work at Jim Moore, the go-to guy at Substack.com. You can follow him at Cougs Go on social media. And because we have got ourselves a real hammer journalist and entertainer to the stars, he's brought to you by not one, but 3 different sponsors.
I know. And I have to tell everybody, I got to go out and find my own payment from somebody because Puck isn't paying me. I mean, not a damn thing. I'm bitter about the Cougs. I don't know about you, Puck. I know we're going to get into that, but I want to thank the Angry Beaver in Greenwood, Seattle favorite for years. He's now owned by a Coug. The Angry Beaver is Matt Baker. He's turned the Angry Beaver into an official WSU watch party. Boy, you don't want to miss this Saturday, the Apple Cup
Get
at
there
the
early.
Angry Beaver. Just get fucking plowed there at the Angry Beaver, okay? Just get hammered watching the Cougs because it might be a long day. It's in Greenwood. Give it a try there at the Angry Beaver. Also want to thank another Coug, Brad Brotherton from Brotherton Cadillac, Northwestern Shoreline, and Brotherton Buick GMC and Brotherton Cadillac and Renton. I know Brad's licking his wounds this weekend, but whether you're shopping for a Cadillac, Buick, or GMC, Brotherton will make it a simple, comfortable, and fun experience. Visit them in Shoreline or Renton or online at brothertonauto.com. And Brian Turner, you know him from a clean streak in Oak Harbor. He also has a professional Christmas lighting business, Bright Owl Lighting. Commercial or residential, Bright Owl Lighting can do the job for you, extending from Island and Skagit counties and as far south as King County, depending on the size of the job. I know it's early. It's the middle of September, but the schedule fills up fast. So give them a call at 360-675-2034 for a free estimate or visit brightowllighting.com. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. We will get to them momentarily, but you know what? We'll leave that to the end. There's too much to cover here on this day. We will get to them. Trust me, we will get to them. Michael-Shawn Dugar again coming up during the show today after Jim leaves, and then also later in the show, Bill Krueger, Old School Baseball. Let's start. Can we start first with our Mariners? Well, and I know it's the it's the Monday after the Seahawks, and I know everyone's NFL. Let me just start with the Mariners and Cal Raleigh joining historic company with Mickey Mantle.
Off the end of the bat, but shot deep. Does it have enough? It's gone! Home run number 54. Cal Raleigh stands alongside yet another all-time legend. Tied with Mickey Mantle for the most home runs ever in a single season by a switch hitter.
Jim, you know, when you are mentioned as a baseball player with Mickey Mantle, I think you've done quite well for yourself. And what I'm amazed with in regards to Cal is something that I know you will appreciate as well. And I talked to Bill Krueger about this, and you'll hear it later in the show. Is his post-game interview with Angie. It's like pulling teeth to talk about himself. The humility that this guy has for the season he has put together is what makes him even more remarkable.
No, Puck, it's far and away my favorite thing about him. And everybody should really appreciate that in this day and age where everybody's so cocky and getting in your face and talking about themselves. And Cal Raleigh's not that kind of guy. And the guy that he's chasing down too in Mariner history, he's only 2 home runs away from him. And Mickey Mantle, yeah, I'm old enough to have seen Mickey Mantle. I was a little kid then, so I don't remember Mickey as well, but I certainly remember seeing Mickey Mantle's name on the end of our Louisville Slugger bats as a kid. So he was a huge deal. We all know that, the famous New York Yankee, but Ken Griffey Jr. was better than Mickey Mantle, and Cal Raleigh is chasing him down now because he's 2 away from Griffey, and I think he's going to get to 57. Of course, I'm the guy who thought he was going to end at 49, so what the hell do I know? But at this point, you got to figure that Cal's going to get to 57 or 58, maybe even 60 in these last 12 games, getting 6 more home runs. That's a little lofty, but no, you hit it nail on the head. Whenever he has to talk about himself, he hates doing that. I love people who don't like talking about themselves. I really love them above all else. You know, when people start talking about me this and me that, I tune it out. And Cal Raleigh, you never have to worry about that. Other people will do the talking for him. He'll talk about his teammates. He'll talk about the team goals. He'll never talk about himself, and he should be truly appreciated for that.
Yeah, it's probably his best quality. To me, yeah. I mean, it is his best quality. It's how he was raised, and how he goes about himself. But it's, you know, I think even with Angie, and this isn't an Angie thing or a Jen thing, he does this to everyone. I mean, maybe like Divish will open up a little bit more into those guys. I don't know. He is so singularly focused on team. What can I do? What am I doing for the team? How do I get the pitchers ready for it?
Can you say singularly one more time?
Did I not say it right? Singularly?
That's a tough one.
Did I not?
I just want to give you a shit.
Singularly.
Singularly?
Yeah. Singularly. That doesn't sound right. Singular.
You know, my wife, I always give her a hard time because, you know, the word signal, she always says signal. It's signal.
Hold on.
2 syllables. It's not 3.
Singularly.
Yeah. I think if you go back, the first part, yeah. I'm just giving you a hard time.
If you go back, it was like singularly.
I don't know. I just was amused by it. And I shouldn't have stopped you because you were saying something really poignant, I think.
Oh, I can't remember now.
No, it was something along the lines of, boy, Cal Raleigh's really good. And you know what? Do you think that he has talked to his agent at all during this season?
Hey, can we get a redo on what I signed?
$17 million a year for that? Is this the best bang for your buck in Mariners history?
I mean, I don't know what else to say about him. I'm really at a loss for words of just how impressed I am and in awe of just how he handles himself.
That was opposite field yesterday. I don't know how many of the 54 are opposite field, but it doesn't matter, right or left. And what he's done right-handed this year, 20 of the 54 home runs from the right side. I mean, I wouldn't say he was weak from that side of the plate, but no one expected a home run in previous seasons with him when he was right-handed in the batter's box.
Well, it led one broadcaster at one point in an interview to ask him, why don't you just hit left-handed all the time? To which he replied, because I'm a switch hitter.
And then there were some silences in there for a while too, right? You think he was turning to Tim Hevley at that point going, why'd you get this interview for me? I know I'm trying to sell something. I forget what he was trying to sell.
He was selling something. What was it?
I forget. And I love that he's promoting himself with Honey Bucket too. So he's embracing the big dumper thing.
I haven't seen anything though. Is there anything more on that? I haven't seen anything else after the initial one. Wow, 9-game winning streak, 7-0 on the homestand. They thrashed, the Angels yesterday, 11-2. Kirby looked great. The 14 strikeouts, retiring the first 13 batters, 9 by strikeouts on this homestand. If you're going to watch me, big Jorge Polanco. Do you know how many doubles he had on this homestand?
I know he had 3 yesterday.
10. He had 10 doubles on the homestand. He slugged 750. Big Jorge Polanco.
That's a new kind of hitting streak, isn't it? I'd never heard of that one before, but he's had a double in 7 straight games.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
one thing to have a hit in 7 straight games, but extra bases in 7 straight games.
What people need to start focus. Everyone's got to focus here. Astros. It's all about the Astros. It's all about the division. 3 games behind Detroit for the number 2 seed, folks. 3 games. That means you get a rest for a whole week. Set up your rotation. Guys get off their feet. Your catcher gets off his feet. Don't lose track with 12 games to go. That's doable. 3 games is doable. 3 games back to catch them.
Yeah, well, it's certainly possible. And Puck, I think that it's within our right and mean to, we trash on this team all the time, left and right when they're playing poorly. It's like, it's fair game. We're not root sports here. We're not sugarcoating stuff. We're not saying, so-and-so's scuffling, but I'm sure he's going to turn it around tonight. We're not saying any of that stuff. So when they're bad, we just say they're bad. So now when they're good, I think we can honestly say stuff without sugarcoating it. I wouldn't want to face this team in the playoffs. And I don't see another team out there that's better than the Seattle Mariners. I think the Mariners could win the whole damn thing this year. And usually in the past, we're sitting there going, God, if they could make the playoffs. And most recently, we'd be talking about they've got such a great rotation. They got a puncher's chance in the playoffs. Well, they got better than a puncher's chance this year. I don't see another team out there that I'm going, oh, my God, if they face the Brewers, they don't have a chance. Or if they face the Blue Jays, they don't have a chance. If I'm the Blue Jays or the Brewers, I'm more worried about facing the Mariners than the Mariners should be worried about facing them, because they look like they've got it all. This team, and then yesterday, the 11-2 win, okay, they got 2 runs from Raleigh. They scored 9 runs without a home run. So they can do it all. The lineup's impressive. The pitching's coming around. The bullpen's been great. I don't know what more you need. They have it all.
So I want you to get back to me on this 6-game road trip. If they go 2-4, then tell me what you think. Because I think
we'll be trashing on them again.
I think what you're doing is, and it's fine, you're living in the moment off a 7-0 homestand. They still need to back this up on the road, in which they have not been good on the road.
Well, okay,
because
you're
to
right.
win the World
they've
Series,
lost 15 of their last 21 on the road. A totally different team on the road. No one, even the people who are in the know, don't know what's going on and how they can turn it around. But they win the division. They're at least going to get home games. And so it's not going to be like you got to win every game on the road if you're just sneaking in as one of the final wild cards.
No, but they'll have to learn how to win on the road. And it's simple. And it's something that Krueger and I talked about that will be later in the show is it's just, and what's a positive sign, at least on the homestand, was from 3 people: Kirby, Castillo, Bryce Miller. That's how you win on the road. It's all starting pitching. They have to work deeper into games. They've got to be the reason why they win on the road because their starters have been bad. That's why they're bad. It's their starter, and it's obvious. They have to get at least 6th inning or get into the 6th inning and then be able to go over the bullpen, but be in the game. They can even work deeper into that.
Okay, so what do you think it is, if you had to guess? Is it in their head? Is it more hitter-friendly parks on the road? I mean, I think with Kirby, it's in his head a little bit because he talked about, in the game stories I was reading, Divish, about, the mental aspect of it. And there was some mental skills coach he talked to. He was talking to everybody, not about mechanics and that kind of thing, but just more the mental aspect of it and what's been going wrong with him. And boy, certainly a different guy yesterday.
I think what you said there at right off the bat, I think a lot of it's the ballpark, and which then leads, I think, to the mental side of it. I think they know they can get away with certain pitches at T-Mobile, that when they do that pitch on the road, which is not like their home park, and it goes out, then they get a little shell-shocked, a little scared, start to miss, and then it all just kind of unravels from there.
To use a baseball term, nibbling. They
nibble.
And I heard Brad Adams.
I've been nibbling. I've been nibbling for 45 years of my life.
It looks like it's been more than nibbling. Oh, sorry. I'm laughing at my own joke, which is bad for him. No, I heard Brad Adams with you the other day, and he's right. Warning track shots at T-Mobile are 30 rows up at some of the other ballparks.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So off day today. Then this is it. I mean, here it is. And it's so hard. I know the players won't look ahead because they don't, especially baseball players. I get that. Because they're so just what's today? It's all about today. But God, it's hard not to look ahead. It's hard not to. I just want to fast forward through Kansas City. I know we can't. And get to Friday and get to Brian Wu and Hunter Brown. What a just a game one pitching matchup, which, if all things hold true, by the way, you're facing this team in the playoffs. This is the first round matchup. So, and that would be the opening. That would be game one. You and me sitting in the bleacher seats at T-Mobile. Game one, Brian Wu against Hunter Brown in the wild card series.
You think I'd get free tickets from Heavily for the playoffs?
I think you're going to ask.
No, I'm not going to. Well, maybe. No, and then the tiebreaker is hanging in the balance too. I mean, they're tied 5-5, as you pointed out last week.
That's right.
So you got to take that series.
Jim, meanwhile, your Seattle Seahawks, 3-point dogs. I thought they were actually going to get hammered by Pittsburgh.
Did you? Why?
I don't know. Well, the Witherspoon thing and Eamon Wari being out. Hey, you're going to Pittsburgh. It's an early game. I know they've been good on the road. It's not, I thought DK
for them.
Thought DK was going to have a big game. Thought he was going to, be real, vengeful and take it out on McDonald. Offense didn't look good in week one, but they get the victory. They're 7 straight on the road under Mike McDonald. For some reason, he can coach on the road, but back home, can't coach at home. Their last loss came last year to, I think, Detroit on the road. Also, you probably have a favorite play of the game. If I said, what was the best moment of the game on Sunday?
Well, for me and a lot of people, I think the turning point in the game was thanking the rookie from Pittsburgh for what he did on the kickoff.
Oh, Johnson misplaying the ball, which I'll be honest with you, didn't, when it landed and went in the end zone, I probably was as confused as everyone. What the hell's going on?
That would have been a touchback according to Condotta's story in college football?
Well, yeah, I knew that. Once it crosses the goal line, I knew that. I cannot believe that they had a chance to get rid of this Mickey Mouse kickoff. I know.
And they didn't do it. And Condotta in his notebook today was talking about the different rules that I didn't even know existed. They took it out to the 30 last year, to 35 this year. Right. And then if something else happens, they take it out to the 40.
If it doesn't land to the 20.
Does anyone else not think that's Mickey Mouse, all that bullshit they're out there fucking doing? Well, I mean, that's not football. That's bullshit.
Okay, well,
it's like the tush push. The tush push, come on. Enough already. But anyway,
you and Hugh Millen go cry together.
I hate that tush push.
It's not football.
It's not a football play. Well, Hugh Millen knows football. I don't. I love Hugh, and I just think it's stupid.
I'm not sure if he does know football. All right. My favorite play of the game, in which if I was a smoker, I would have went outside and grabbed a smoke. Robbie Oots.
Oh, yeah.
Not one, but two players. Boom! Boom! Come
Well,
on.
the second guy looked like he was going down already.
No, he wasn't. Patrick Queen?
Take a closer look here.
No. He knocks him back.
Boom.
Yeah, he was so scared of Oots.
A short stack of pancakes there.
Oh my God, Robbie Oots, that's why I love the fullback. What a great win. Ken Walker looked great.
How about people like me who are like going, hey, Zach Charbonnet, come on, you got to get Charbonnet out there. He's more north-south. You got to get him. If you're going to run this Clint Kubiak offense, he's better suited for Clint Kubiak. And then look at Ken Walker yesterday. He's saying, you know what? All you people thinking that, shut the hell up. I'm Ken Walker. I'm better than Zach Charbonnet, and I'll show you today why.
It is amazing, though, when you look at his final stat line and he averaged 8.1 yards a carry. I guess I would call up Clint Kubiak and go, why did he only touch it 13 times?
Why would you bring that up?
I'm just saying, this guy, he was averaging 8 yards a carry, and at one point, there was one drive. It was actually right before. Actually, it was the drive in which they put the game away, in which he got the touchdown on third down. I believe Charbonnet's in that drive the whole time, and I'm like, where is Ken Walker? The guy is killing it, and yet you've got Charbonnet in there.
Well, I was glad Charbonnet was in there because I had $10 on him going over 50 yards. That didn't work out too well.
He had 15 carries for 10 yards.
I picked the wrong back to bet on. No, that was fantastic, wasn't it? 3rd and 19, and you're thinking, we'll just get a field goal out of this. We'll hand it to Kenny here and see what he can do.
Great game.
Takes it all the way.
Well, and really, that was the Oots was my favorite play of the game. The play of the game, though, was the Darnold spinning out of the blitz and hitting Barner. That just was a fantastic play by Sam Darnold, who played great minus the 2 picks. Other than that, he spread the ball around, didn't just focus in on JSN. Cooper Kupp had a nice game. Torrey Horton got involved. Arroyo got involved. But yeah, it was an all around, like that's what it was supposed to look like week 1. And it looked like that in week 2. And we talked about that even last week because we talked about, we'll get to the miserable Cougars in a second, how bad they looked against Idaho, and then they looked really great against San Diego State, and then they, the next week. But could Mike McDonald and the Seahawks follow a similar pattern by not looking great offensively against San Francisco and then turn around against the Steelers? And they did. And the Steelers' defense is not all that great, and then they lost a bunch of guys. But still, whatever. A win is a win. On the road, it's hard. And now they come back home to take on a Saints team that doesn't appear to be all that good.
I was the happiest for Sam Darnold yesterday because I was out with the dogs. I missed the first half, and I saw 2 interceptions. I'm like, oh God, here's the bad Sam Darnold. The 2 games last year to end the year for the Vikings. Here he is showing up in Seattle, and then to see him play the way he did in the second half, and then following that up, spinning out of that blitz, and then hitting JSN on the long one. Right after that, it was nice to see because there's still a lot of people in town wishing that Geno was the quarterback, and so Sam Darnold yesterday at least silenced some of those people.
Yeah. It just was. I think there's a lot of pressure on him, and I think he puts the pressure on himself because of living up to what happened last year, and then contract. Not like the contract is massive for quarterbacks, but it's still a good deal. But yeah, he looked good. He was very efficient. Leonard Williams was everywhere making plays. He was just out of his mind. And then we mentioned before, but DK was just a non-factor. And I just thought DK was going to have a huge game, but he didn't do anything. I mean, minus the touchdown, but that's it. I mean, they did. Am I
the only one in town who, when the Seahawks intercepted Aaron Rodgers in the end zone, who had not heard of Darian Kendrick? Were you aware of him?
I was aware of him just because I read that he had been activated.
Like, you got any fun facts about him or what he was on the practice squad?
Know. I don't know if he went to Virginia Tech or Virginia. No, I don't have any fun facts. Do you have any fun facts on him? I don't know. Okay. I do want to bring up something though, because I've watched it again and again and again. I'm not so sure Helani secured the ball. Is anyone? Because he jumped on it and he immediately rolls out of bounds and then the ball pops up. Like, are we? I mean, whatever. You can't change it now, but are we? Does anybody else out there think that maybe he didn't quite secure it?
Well, I heard on Mitch's show this morning that the Brady Henderson, the Brady Henderson that your wife, thinks is so attractive. Yeah. That Brady Henderson was saying that.
Is your show prep? Can I interrupt? Is your show prep? I'm just going to listen to Mitch every Monday so I can get ready for the show. And then
I do listen. I do listen to that every Monday. That's part of my show prep.
Oh, okay.
I also read Ryan Divish and Bob Condotta in the Seattle Times, Greg Bell in the News Tribune, Michael-Shawn Dugar in the Athletic. Yeah, I put a lot into this.
Yeah. You didn't do all of that.
Because I have 3 sponsors that I feel like I should, bring my best stuff.
There is no way you did all of that this morning.
Well, I didn't read Bell and Dugar, but I usually do. Yeah. But yeah, it was all, I read Varell's column. Yeah. I mean, what do you want? I mean, I watched the game or half of it.
Well, you watched the second half.
I did.
Hold on. What did you say? What was your point about what did Brady Henderson say?
Oh, he was talking about, because I was wondering, why don't they challenge that? If you're Tomlin, I mean, that's a huge play. And even if you lose the challenge, it's worth the challenge, to see if he secured the ball before he hit the end line.
And can you not challenge it?
And well, Brady was saying that they review every scoring play as it is.
So they looked at it.
But yeah, I would have, if I was Tomlin, I would have been out there rather than like bitching at the guy who screwed up. I'd have been like, hey man, I'll bitch at you later, but I got to go talk to the official.
I'm just not it to me. It did not seem like he secured it.
Well, did you see the official? He didn't immediately go up with his arms like touchdown Seahawks. Touchdown. No, he kind of like walked around for a second and then he went, well, yeah, I guess I got to go like this.
Yes. I guess we'll just we'll say touchdown, but we don't even know. So they got they'll come back home. They got the Saints, see if they can win a game at home. The early line, Seahawks favored by 7.5 at home against Spencer Rattler, and it's a homecoming. It's a homecoming for why do I want to call him Kirby Moore? It's not Kirby Moore.
Kellen.
Who the hell's the quarterback? Huh?
Kellen
Moore. God, why
Prosser.
Yeah. I know. I couldn't remember his name. It's like Kirby
Prosser High School, the little lefty. Did some damage at Boise State.
He did do some damage. So they return home 7.5-point favorites there as they return home. All right. Well, the massacre in Texas. I will contend this to you, and I were talking before, and I was even going to say you can make an argument. I don't think there's an argument. I think it's the worst loss in program history. I think it's the worst loss I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. And now let me explain, because I know, but no. I've looked at the 2 other games that to me are the worst. Okay. Paul Wolf. I think this was Paul Wolf's first or second year. Now, there were a lot of bad losses with him, but they went to Stillwater, Oklahoma, if you remember. And they played the Cowboys of Oklahoma State and were just, annihilated. It was like 65-17. I can't even believe they scored 17 points. I think Oklahoma State just said, we'll let you score. Like in youth football, when the other team lets you score because you're up by too many points, but then because your team wants to score again, they let you score, and then so they can score again. I think it was like that, if I remember. And I know what you're about to say. Don't go down that road. So, stop. That did not happen because they don't have that rule in our league.
Ballard.
Knights. Hey, Knights are bouncing back this weekend. Heavy favorites against Meadowdale coming up on
I'll
Saturday.
take the points.
Yeah, I don't like you. Heavy favorites against Meadowdale coming up on Saturday. Now, the worst loss besides this past weekend that I witnessed in person was the 69-0 drubbing by USC in 2008. Now, that score doesn't even indicate how bad it was. The total yards in that game was 625 to 116. They didn't even throw for 100 yards in that game. Washington State threw the ball, I think, 9 times. They just said, we're just going to hand off and run it. Pete Carroll ended up, if you remember, took a knee before half so he wouldn't score again. A knee. He took a knee.
I asked him about that after he became Seahawks coach, because I just was wondering, what went into that decision. And he just looked at me and he goes, I thought we were never not going to score.
Well, yeah. So now you'd ask me, well, why the USC was worse? No, because that was USC.
How about the UCLA game when we blew a 32-point lead?
No. Because no. That was a bad loss, but not like this. USC was USC at the height of their dominance. Oklahoma State is a Power 5 big-time football powerhouse. They lost and got their asses kicked by North fucking Texas, who literally the only thing that people know about North Texas is that they were the fictional team in a movie called Unnecessary Roughness, starring Kathy Ireland as their kicker. There's no football history there. They're not in a great conference. They're an afterthought. And they beat them by 49. And they could have beat them by 80 if they wanted to. That was the worst loss in program history. And before anyone says, well, it was just about the turnovers. Bullshit. Did you watch the first drive? It took them like 6 plays to walk down the field. Had we not turned the ball over 5 times, they would have just done the same thing. Same thing on every series. No answer at all. They can't run the ball. You know they're second or third dead last in rushing yards in America. They're 132nd. And I was told we're gonna run the ball, we're gonna be physical. I mean, it's awful. It is. This Angel Johnson guy, can we send him back to South Dakota State? I mean,
hey, come on. He picked up the blitz. He picked up the blitz and got pancake doing it.
Can we give him back? Is there a way in the NIL world a reverse transfer and send him back to South Dakota State? Can he be a jackrabbit for the rest of the season? Because that guy is awful. He is awful.
He's not getting running room.
Well, he is not good. And there was a lot of hype around that kid. My God.
God, I love hearing bitter Cougs just venting.
Oh,
I mean, I started laughing at one point. I was also just thinking about, God, I mean, if I'm a Husky fan and I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, man, worst loss ever in program history. That's got to take a lot of thinking, because there's been a lot of bad losses for you guys. And for this one to top all the others, imagine being at Alabama, hey, what was our worst loss ever? Well, God, remember that one game we lost to Georgia, 24-21, at least they're competitive when they lose.
Yes.
I mean, we just get, I don't know.
But on top of that, I know we got Old Crimson coming out this week. We'll do more of it. On top of it, this is where I'm concerned after 3 games. Like, I'm really concerned. I thought it was I thought he had turned a corner. Okay, maybe it was just the first game. Fine. San Diego State, they looked good. They were so unprepared for this game. I mean, unprepared is an understatement. But what has me concerned is they've only run the ball 1 time, so they can't do that. They are sloppy. They have way too many penalties, way too many procedural penalties. They're late getting off the field, late getting on the field. Their substitutions are a mess. Whoever is in charge of the special teams should be fired immediately, because he doesn't know what he's doing, because they have all these penalties on special teams. And then the way he has handled this quarterback situation is an abomination. Julian Duggar cannot play at this level. Cannot play. And I have got to really question these guys who watched him all summer and go, yeah, that guy's the backup quarterback. What pass have you seen in the games he's come in that you go, I get it. You couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, this guy.
We probably paid that kid $100,000 to get him to come here from Pittsburgh.
You know what? It's not my place. You'd be sick to hear what they paid Zeviak House. You'd be sick to your stomach as an alum.
Yeah.
I'll just say it's 6 figures and it's a lot of money. And the guy's the 3rd string quarterback.
No, see, that's where the NIL can go wrong too. Sometimes you pay a guy and he's playing, and you think, oh, he's not worth what they paid him. But when you're paying a guy what we're paying Zevi, and he's not even playing, Puck, let me just try and be objective for a second, because I'm right there with you. God, the Cougs are horseshit, man. They're just absolute horseshit, and we have no chance in that damn Apple Cup. I mean, talk
20.5 point favorites. Our dogs. Has it gone up? Is it more now?
I don't know. It probably should go up. I mean, I'm going to take the points anyway and just hope for a bounce back game and just be an idiot like I usually am. But no, I mean, Puck, I mean, realistically, if you take we're living in the past is what we're doing. We're an FCS team now. We got a bunch of South Dakota State players, and we expected them to like go, oh, all of a sudden we're going to play at a higher level and we're going to be better than what we've seen so far. I think our expectations were too high for this team. God, I sound like Sorensen. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. I'm just as mad about it as you are. I kept live betting on the Cougs. You know, we were getting 9.5, 13.5, 16.5, 22.5. And I thought, well, God, surely we're going to come back.
No live betting.
What a fool, man. I mean, Puck, we're not good anymore. We don't have talent. We have slow white kids. We suck. I mean, it's not, could things be better if we were better coached? I suppose. And then, you can always say, well, 75 new kids, what do you expect? Well, and then you would say, well, most of those kids were his.
They got 20. They got over 20 kids that were from there or were committed to there. So I'm just concerned with the preparation and the penalties and just not being in sync. And that is on coaching. It's 3 games, so I'm probably overreacting, but I just knowing and having heard about him and read about him and talked to him, I never thought sloppy would be a part of this program, but through 3 games, it has been. They've just been sloppy. And the way he's handled the quarterback situation is a mess, is an absolute mess.
Well, Zevi has to start in the Apple Cup, doesn't he? I mean, you got to at least roll the dice with the guy that, can maybe keep you in the game.
Well, or he's the backup. But this Julian Duggar has no business stepping foot on the football field. None. And I want to hear him answer a question of how can you evaluate a quarterback who looked like he looked in the Holiday Bowl. And what was it that Julian Duggar did? To beat him out? What is it? I mean, it's his legs. He clearly is certainly athletic, but I still haven't seen that. But I don't know. We'll get more into it.
And no, Puck, the saddest part, before you let me go, the saddest part to me, being a Coug fan for 50 years, and it wasn't just the game. It wasn't just us getting blown out by North Texas, which was bad enough. It was the realization that this might be our new lot in life. And that this might be, I'll call it the new abnormal, because I fucking hate that new normal shit. But that's what occurred to me. It's like, and I never wanted to be that, old guy who's saying, oh, the good old days. Well, damn it, those were the good old days. And I don't know if we're going to go back to those days anymore. And that this might just be the way it is from now on. Because, I mean, face it, if we have a good player, let's say, Jackson Potter, let's say he tears it up the rest of the season, then we're going to be, in the old days, we'd be going, God, that's a great first year that he had. Imagine what he'll be like next year. Well, now, if somebody just tears it up, somebody else is going to offer more money and he's going to take off. So, even if we end up having good players, they're going to be gone next year. And so for schools like ours, this is just going to be the way it is. And it's almost like I quit watching in the fourth quarter, and I was listening to Chris King and Alex Brink, and, they were trying their damnedest to put a positive spin on things. But God, it seems like it's not just Saturday. It's going to be our future too. And that's what worries me the most.
We'll see how they respond. Let's see how they respond this week there against Washington there in the Apple Cup. There he is, the go-to guy, Jim Moore. You can hear him on Puck Sports and the Daily Puck Drop on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, brought to you by Brothers in Cadillac, Angry Beaver, and A Clean Streak, and Bright Owl Light, which is part of Clean Streak. All right, we will see you and talk to you on Wednesday. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thanks, Buck. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. Again, Jim Moore with us as we start the show. I'm way late to Michael-Shawn Dugar. I know he's going to be angry, sitting in the green room, listening to us complain about the Cougs because he's a Coug himself. We talk Seahawks football every Monday with Michael-Shawn Dugar from The Athletic. His weekly appearance brought to you by Georgetown Brewery.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
And again, Michael-Shawn Dugar with us. Mike, my apologies for making you sit through that. I had to get it off our chests, and we did that. But I'm taking up your time, and I know it's valuable. You just got back from Pittsburgh, so I apologize. Mike Dugar with us from The Athletic, host of the Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast, of course, author of the franchise book on the Seattle Seahawks, and of course, read all of his work at theathletic.com. Brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. Well. What do you make of the Seahawks victory over the Steelers? Certainly one of the biggest things was that offense looked totally different from week one.
Yeah, I think two takeaways, broadly speaking. The Seahawks are not bad. The Steelers are. It was like that's probably 1A and 1B there. I think the Steelers, they have the best in 2025. They have the best roster that 2019 money can buy. And you kind of saw it there, and they don't have any depth, so they're a problem. And I think the Seahawks did a good job exploiting the weaknesses that they had and eliminating their strengths. I thought that was a really good coaching display yesterday. Outside of the fourth down decisions, I'm almost always disagree with those when it comes to Mike Macdonald. It seems like this year, but on offense, the Steelers have a quarterback that pretty much can't throw down the field in structure. He can do it off platform, which he did a couple times yesterday. But in structure, can't do it. So what do? Take away all his quick game stuff, which they did pretty well. Defensively, the Steelers don't have anyone other than Cam Hayward and Patrick Queen who can stop the run with any consistency. So what do? Block them, and you'll hit some big ones. It was just a good plan to use what the Seahawks do well to take away what the few things that the Steelers do really well on their end. So yeah, I thought the Seahawks did a good job. I'm not sure if they're like a great team, but they're at the very least not bad. Like I'm sure people thought they were probably bad after week one, only scoring 13 points. So I can confirm that they're not. And then I can confirm, if you care, that Aaron Rodgers and DK and their team are just not very good.
What from your perspective, why did Darnold look more comfortable? And then also let's touch in on Ken Walker's game, because boy, we've been waiting for that Ken Walker performance, and he looked great yesterday. But let's first start with your thoughts on Darnold.
Yeah, I think Darnold's doing a good job trying to trust his reads and trust his feet. Try not to throw off platform too much unless he absolutely has to. I'm thinking like he rolled left and found Jackson for what was a pretty safe throw near the sideline. But then you see when that can get him into trouble. He tried to throw off his back foot across his body on that second interception. That's bad, Sam. The first interception to Cooper Kupp was never open on that route, at all. Jalen completely undercut that, knew what the route was. That's bad, Sam. The 43-yard bomb to Jackson, that's good, Sam. So we got good Sam and bad Sam on Sunday. I think that's pretty much when the other team has some competent players on their defense, you're gonna get that from Sam more likely than not. Because he just has it in him. He can't help himself, especially the first pick to Kupp. That was like first down, I believe, play action. He had time in the pocket. There was just no reason to make that read and throw. Whereas the other one's 4th and 1, Sam is one of those people who believes throwing it away on 4th and 1 is pretty stupid. I would agree. However, that only put the ball in harm's way, which is exactly what he did. But you can kind of see how everything was sped up on that 4th and 1, whereas that first pick was as calm as it could have been. But Sam ultimately, as he saw last year, is a gamer. Late in games. He's got that. It reminds me of a little bit of Geno in that regard. Baker, Burrow, guys who are just like did something in their eyes when it's showtime late. I think Sam was among the lead leaders in fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drives last year. Obviously, how it went in Seattle, and so to see him make some big boy throws there on the second to last drive was impressive. That was probably the two best throws of the day. I thought the one to Jackson for 43, and then the spin out, and then find AJ Barner on third down. That was really impressive. That was $100 million throw, the one to Barner, I would say, because it felt that way in the building, because that's when they played their song. The Steelers got, the Renegade song. That's when the towels were waving. Their first run after that went for nothing. Their second run went for 1 yard, which is why it was 39. If Patrick Queen comes in there free and gets Sam, that place is rocking. Yeah. You're punting it back. It's a 1-score game. That was a silence. That was one of those a three ball to put the game away type of thing, or it was a big boy throw, and I think that's what they want more of out of Sam. But to get that, you got to live with that. He might get the ball to the other team at other points in the game.
Ken Walker, Mike, we have talked about him a lot. 13 carries, 105 yards. He averaged 8.1 yards a carry and also scored that game-sealing touchdown. That's the type of game we've been waiting for from Ken Walker, and he delivered on Sunday against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I've been telling everybody who will listen, man, if Clint Kubiak and Mike McDonald and John Schneider are right, the biggest beneficiary will be Ken Walker. Right, meaning the blocking. If the blocking is good and this wide zone thing is going to work, then Ken is going to eat. He will. When the blocking is there, Ken is the best running back on the team. That does not mean Zach is not good. He is good and is better. And I don't think that's a hot take. It feels like a hot take these days because like Ken is Zach's Q rating is very high these days. It feels like among the fans, among the front office, among the coaching staff. I understand it. Zach's a nice dude. But have you seen number 9 run the ball? Like sometimes you just got to get the ball to your best guys. And he was killing it yesterday when the blocking was good.
What's interesting, though, when you bring that up, you talk about the Q rating. You're right. The backup always gets to be the most popular player. Usually we're talking about the quarterbacks. But I was even thinking it yesterday during the game, how much do they favor Charbonnet? Because if I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm wrong a lot, on that game-sealing drive touchdown by Walker, I think Charbonnet's in that whole series. And I'm thinking to myself, where is Ken Walker? Like he's averaging at that point, he's averaging damn near almost 8 yards, 7 yards a carry. Charbonnet did nothing, but in that drive, and I'll try to pull up the play-by-play. I think Charbonnet's in almost every play, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. Where is Ken Walker at?
I'm pretty sure the first two plays that go for a total of 1 yard are Zach. I can't remember if he's in on the third down, but he usually is. So that's the safe bet that he was in on 3rd and 9. Can't remember who was in on the bomb to Jacks. It was a play action pass, so I can go back and look. But then when they get down there after the bomb to Jackson, the first 2 runs first 2 plays are Zach plays. I think one of them is a play action that goes for a sack, which is why it's 3rd and 1 million. But yeah, to your point, it wasn't the feed the hot hand game. It was more so let's see if they both can get hot. Which that when I say that out loud, that actually doesn't sound crazy, because especially consider Ken's injury history. That said, sometimes feeding the hot hand is like the way to go, especially with the way, for some reason, the blocking just was not good on any of Zach's runs. I actually started to feel bad for him there late in the game.
So they started the drive, 7:44 in the 4th quarter. First carry, Charbonnet, no gain. Then they go to Charbonnet again for 1 yard. Then he hits Barner for that play that you talked about. Then he hits Jackson Smith and Jigba. They get down to the Pittsburgh 10. Again, he gives it to Charbonnet for no gain. Then it's the sack. Then it's Ken Walker. So Ken Walker only has 1 touch on that final drive. And again, they win the game yesterday, but you have to wonder, like, I would like to ask Clint Kubiak, like, why was your guy that has been playing the best out of the 2, why was he not featured in that final drive? That to me remains a head scratcher.
Yeah, I do think they're trying to, like I said, make it so they both like, okay, let's not feed the hot hand. Let's have them both get hot. It's like, I can see that, but it's one of those things that sounds good in your head. And then you like try to apply it. And it's like, what are we doing here? Ken's killing it. Like you said, he averaged 19 yards a touch on that drive, and I don't think any other back on the roster scores on that play, by the way. I think that was unique to Ken, how fast he can accelerate and get to the edge there. Because if he's a tick late, that first linebacker trips him up and it's a gain of like 4. Which is fine. That's what they were going for. Like, let's just play it safe, kick the field goal, go up 2 scores. But Ken showed in that play that he's a difference maker. I think one of the phrases Mike McDonald likes to use, mostly in reference to Spoon, is a force multiplier. I think Ken's that as well, man. He just is. Not to say Zach's not good. I feel like we don't have to choose between the kids we like, but Ken is the better guy.
Yeah. I just think I think Ken Walker's the better running back. But Zach Charbonnet is very good, and Charbonnet is a very impactful player on this team, but he doesn't. There's just an extra juice there with Ken Walker. How do they carry over? And I don't know if they've talked about this, but they're very good on the road, Mike, under McDonald. They're very good, and they won 7 straight on the road. Last loss was, I think, to Detroit last year.
Yeah, that's their only loss on the road is the Lions game.
Okay, so how do they why is it not translating at home? Like, shouldn't they, like, how are they not better at home in that span? Is it easy as, hey, if we look back at the competition on the road versus home, teams they played at home are better?
A little bit. Yeah, I think one of those, I think that's part of it. I think they played Kyler on the road. I guess played him at home too and beat him. So they prove they can beat a Kyler team anywhere. They've now beaten Aaron Rodgers on the road twice, once in New York, once over there. They beat up on Kirk Cousins on the road, who eventually got benched, and then they beat Jimmy G on the road in week 18 last year, beat Caleb Williams on the road. I'm focusing on the offenses here because that kind of highlights how bad some of those teams have been. Not to say the Seahawks defense hasn't played a role there, but like the Rams damn near waved the white flag on that week 18 game, right? And that's a gifted road win. And then obviously Caleb and the Bears aren't very good. So I think opponent quality is part of it. I do think one thing that stands out is so they have the benefit of the noise factor when the offense is on the field, when the opposing offense is on the field at Lumen. Well, who can't hear in that scenario? Ernest Jones. Not to say Ernest plays bad at home, but like it's his job to hear Mike McDonald, then relay all that. If it's third and whatever, second and whatever, crowd's going nuts, that's great, but the communication is much easier on the road. They can hit it, coach, the quarterbacks usually tell the crowd be quiet. Like it was dead silent in there when Rodgers had the ball, as it should be. I think that probably helps the defense because the defense has played really well in pretty much all of these games that I'm mentioning, with the exception, obviously, the one they lost, the Lions game. But go look at all the defensive road performances, Niners at the road, Cardinal, like the defense has been the catalyst in most of those, with the exception, I think, of the road game at Arizona. So I think that's part of it. Otherwise, I think they're just in their own heads. I really do. I think they're just in their own heads about it. I don't know if they need to change the routine. They've already done that from last year. Maybe change it again. I'm not sure. But it is staggering that I believe, without looking it up, they're 3-7 at home and 8-1 on the road. That's ridiculous. It's unsustainable too, by the way.
Yeah. What is the status as we look ahead to this week, and even looking back to a Sunday's game, but now forecasting ahead to New Orleans? Chances that we see Eamon and Witherspoon on the field?
Mike said, it's funny, I'm laughing because while you and Jim were eulogizing the state of the Cougs, I was trying to listen to, without taking my headphones off, listen to Mike McDonald on the radio this morning. So I did hear the Spoon part. He said that it's a possibility Spoon plays against the Saints. I couldn't make out the Nicky Manwari thing. I think it might just be, let's see if his ankle can make it through the week. So if he practices Wednesday, great sign. If he doesn't practice Wednesday, not as good. That sucks for Nick. I do think he needs the reps, but I do think they can get by with just having Spoon. I thought Darian Kendrick played well yesterday. Sometimes DBs just sometimes they're better at the contested ones than the layups for some reason. Let a ball hit him in the face, so it caught a ricochet in the back of the end zone diving on the ground.
Right.
But if they just have Spoon back, I think that's I'm gonna say that's all they need, because that diminishes Nick's value. But that's enough to get the job done, I should say. Spoon is really, he's the big nickel, he's the little nickel, he's the whatever they need. And when he's on there, he just has a juice that no one else can replicate. So kudos to Darian Kendrick and DeAnthony Bell for, filling in yesterday. But Spoon is what really makes it come to life. So if they have him, if he can go on Sunday, that's going to be great. That's going to be a problem for New Orleans.
Sounds like they may have avoided a really potentially bad injury with Eamon. They put him on the IR, and they're considering maybe him going this week. So, I think initially it sounded like, I think all of us, you hear high ankle sprain, you're thinking, a month at least.
Yeah, no, I think Mike Macdonald is trial by fire with his ability to pretend doctor. He say? He said post game, "Oh yeah, no, we think everything's intact. Yeah, I don't think it's a high ankle." The very next day, it's a high ankle. Yeah, you might have to put him on IR. 2 days later, oh no, wait, no, let's see, let's wait till the end of the week. Yeah, he's just going through the motions. You can kind of see why coaches just don't like to talk about injuries because they're not docs, right? And it's not their body part in question. You know, they don't know how a guy could wake up or how he'll feel after he runs or wears pads. So, but yeah, ultimately, I think it's a great sign that he's not going on injured reserve. I don't even think Nick is going to be like this super high impact player right away. He just needs the reps so he can get there. You know, what he's losing now is the game reps in the field and making mistakes and making up for it. So that in week 12, in week 13 or whatever, he kind of developed a callus, so to speak. You know, he needs that because if his first meaningful snaps are in like week 7 or something like that on Monday Night Football against the Texans or something, that's bad, you know, or a road game somewhere important. He needs to just get it out now, make them mistakes now, hopefully not detrimental ones, but all rookies need. That was kind of part of Pete's philosophy. Like, yeah, they're going to mess up in September, but like by December, they're vets now, you know. Nick can't get to there if he's not playing right now.
They great attention to detail, I thought, this week, and hearing the players talk about it afterwards. You mentioned that song earlier, right? That they're gonna play this song Renegade at this certain point to get their crowd engaged. You saw the reaction of the Seahawks on the bench. They decided, no, let's be part of it, and let's try and steal their moment for them. I mean, that's good coaching, good thinking ahead and planning for something like that, and what it was going to be like, that environment. I would imagine they put in a lot of thought process in terms of how they were going to handle DK Metcalf. Were they going to do some certain things to try and get under his skin? They know that bothers them. They didn't say anything leading up, and DK didn't say anything leading up, and I don't think DK said much afterwards. Did anybody in the secondary, anybody on the defense afterwards maybe open up to you and just say, yeah, there was a focus on him and maybe trying to bother him like other teams have in the past?
No, nothing that I heard. To be fair, I didn't talk to that many DBs after the game. I talked to Shaq about the defense thing, the waving of the towels, because I saw he was one of the guys I could make out because I don't bring binoculars to the game because I'm stubborn. So he was one of the guys I could see that had a towel. I was like, okay, I recognize those dreads. I wrote it down to go talk to him. And Isu mentioned that was Mike Macdonald's idea to come up, you know, to basically play defense, right? He's a defensive-minded coach. He played defense. That's their offense. That Renegade song is their offense. How can we counter that? It was I felt like that was, whether Mike knows this or not, subconsciously or whatever, I think that was true to his mind as a defensive guy, is to have a counter. That was essentially a counter punch. So I thought that was kind of cool characteristic. We learned a little bit about Mike in that way. But I think a lot of those guys, DK was no different than any other star receiver who they want to prove themselves against. I think a lot of those guys just have that mentality, whether the other team has Garrett Wilson or Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or insert guy here, Mike Evans, Nico Collins, whoever, CeeDee Lamb. They all want those reps against that guy because that's what gets you paid, right? That's what gets the slow-mo replay when you play on prime time and gets you clips and gets your coach shouting you out and gets this, you know, hype. Not to say a PBU against Roman Wilson won't get you some shine in the film room too, but a PBU against DK will, just like a PBU against a Brandon Ayuk or Terry McLaurin would as well. So just knowing those guys, I do know that was part of it. But most of those guys, to my knowledge, have good relationships with DK. He was good to them here. He was a good teammate by all accounts, on and off the record. I never really heard anything out of the normal for any player, let alone a receiver. From him. So I think that's probably why no one really wanted to disrespect anybody. You know, like, I give you an example that at least always has stood out to me. Before they played the Jags in 2021, that's when Shaquille was on the Jags, that Urban Meyer team. And I think he caught 2 touchdowns on Shaq that day. One of them they had a big picture of in the VMAC. But even talking about the touchdowns, DK went out of his way to say, hey, so you guys know, I think he said his jersey number. He's like, that guy over there, he's a good player. So you guys know that. Like, that's the type of teammate he was. That type of stuff is not lost. So you're not going to get guys being like, I'm about to lock up number 4 this week. He just never really wasn't that type of relationship with those guys. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time as always. Apologies for getting late to you. The Dugar Report every Monday. Michael-Shawn Dugar, The Athletic. Follow him on social media at Mike Dugar. Where can they get the latest Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast, by the way?
YouTube, Seahawks Man to Man, Instagram, Seahawks Man to Man, TikTok, Seahawks Man to Man. Follow me on Twitter at Mike Dugar, MikeDugar. Everywhere you're listening to podcasts, we're available. It's always pinned to the top of my profile on Twitter if that's just a easier way for you to go. New episode up right now, recapping last night's game. Sorry, I just landed. Again, always remember what day it is. We got our preview show coming up this week to talk about the Saints, and we'll do our film breakdown on Friday as usual. Should be a fun one. A lot of good stuff they put on tape, a little bit of which I watched on the flight.
And for those who don't know, Mike's an author, the franchise story about the Seattle Seahawks. And if people are interested in that, they can find the book where?
Yeah, Amazon, wherever books are sold, Barnes and Noble. You can buy them straight from our publisher, Triumph Books. You can get them straight from me if you're at the game. I have a box with me at the Saints game on Sunday. DM me. I'll come meet you by the Tunnel Club. I'll sign it for you. Halftime, pregame, probably not postgame though. So either halftime or pregame. I'll be busy postgame. But yeah, I love to meet you guys. Get you a book. You buy it straight from me. I'll sign it for you. And if you want to do that, just let me know. All my DMs are open on every social platform.
Mike, I know it's a busy morning for you, flying and hustling home. Apologies for getting to you late. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next Monday.
All right, go Cougs. Go 1-0 each week. That's all we got to do. Go 1-0 this week. That's all we got to focus on. North Texas doesn't matter this week.
There you go. Thank you, Mike. There he is, Mike Dugar, Michael-Shawn Dugar of The Athletic. In case you missed any of that, a part of the podcast, The Daily Puck Drop. You can watch it later or listen to it later on all your favorite podcast platforms. Go read all of his work up at The Athletic. All right, we go back over to baseball, and it's our Monday visit with Bill Krueger. The tall veteran left-hander joins me every Monday to talk Mariners baseball. What a homestand for the baseball team, 7-0. They've won 9 straight. They have an off day today, and then they get ready for the road trip of the season, 3 in Kansas City, 3 in Houston. Our Monday conversation with Bill Krueger. But first, a word from John Howie Steak. Excellence in dining? Visit John Howie Steak and experience premier Northwest dining. Prime custom aged steaks, award-winning wine, unmatched level of service. You won't be disappointed. Make your next reservation today at johnhowiesteak.com. Favorite times, Bill Krueger is here. It is Old School Baseball with Bill Krueger, host of the Old School Baseball podcast, and he joins us as he does every single Monday here on Puck Sports. Follow him on social media, old_school_MLB. What a difference a week makes, Mr. Bill Krueger.
Yes,
How about that? An undefeated homestand, 7-0, and a 9-game winning streak. That's how you answer a rough road trip right there.
Yeah, they found their sea legs the last couple games in Atlanta. Scored 28 runs. Of course, that's going to boost their numbers. And then the tailwind coming off of those 2 games, took hold at home. They play with such confidence at home. Their pitching gets comfortable. They showed grit, winning a couple extra inning games, and then just really dominated the Angels. You look at those 9 games, Jason, 66 runs scored in those 9 games. That's over 7 a game. And then only giving up 23. That's domination. So we can obviously look at a lot of real positive things with this team. Offensively, starting pitching, bullpen, just momentum. It's all there.
Yeah, it was a great response. What is something like that? How they responded, Bill, after that road trip to come back, to understand what was at stake, to go undefeated at home. What does that show you as a former player now, a guy who now sits back and watches them? What did that grit show you about them?
I think that, the addition of what they did at the deadline, when you look at Naylor and Suarez and Ferguson, those guys really helped this team from maturity standpoint, especially Naylor. He's such a leader. I think he's in the middle of what is good about this team and their ability to stick to it in tough games. And they've had a few tough games that they had to hang in there with. Those 2 extra inning games were big, where they had to dip into the bottom of their roster. In fact, waiver line guys to help them get through those games. impressive how they were able to use the whole roster and play with such confidence. And then I think the club really responds to home crowd. The home crowd is really juicing this team and making them feel like they can do anything. This audience here, this Mariner fan base is hungry, so hungry for a winner, so hungry for a playoff team, so hungry for a team that gets to the World Series. And we're also seeing what happens when teams just don't have the wherewithal to hang in there tough and win tough games. Teams at this time of the year that have given up, guys are chasing numbers, guys that are semi-hurt aren't playing. And when it gets down to it, when you get into a tough situation in a long game or just a critical moment, the team that's really playing for something has the edge. I'm not trying to say these wins weren't great. They were. And you got to take advantage of teams that are out of it, which they have. St. Louis, not a good team. Atlanta, we saw them. And most certainly the Angels, not the same club that they faced earlier in the season. But you take advantage of it. You're going to see that split in the road. Once you hit the deadline and you see the teams that buy and the teams that sell. And the teams that sell, it almost it's a message to the club. Hey, we're looking ahead. We're going to play some other guys, and that's how it's going to go. Yeah, if you get great pitching and somebody hits a 3-run homer, hey, we're all in for a win for that game, but you're not going to hang in there and fight through games. And we kind of saw that. The Mariners were in for the long haul, playing for something bigger than themselves, and they showed it.
And now it's a huge week in front of them. They have the off. They start the week with no game on Monday. They've got 12 games remaining in the season. And one thing that is just a side note that I think is snuck up on some people is we're so concentrated on the American League West as they should be and as everyone should be, now being a game up on Houston. But they do in their sights have a chance to get a first round bye. It is in their sights to catch Detroit, who they're only 3 back with 12 to play. So it's not just the American League West. It is a chance to sit back, relax, and just recover a little bit. They also have that carrot dangling in front of them. Yep. But a 6-game road trip with Kansas City and Houston, we know how different they are on the road. What they did on this homestand, how do they carry that over to the road trip? And I know if you would have an answer to this, they would have an answer to this. But how can they play better on the road? What do they need to do to accomplish that, Bill?
The key calling card is starting pitching. You got to get out of the chute. You got to have starting pitching that gets you past the 5th inning. That is what's going to make this team win. They need solid starting pitching to get them past the 5th inning. I'm just setting the bar at a lower point. Do they need more than that? Most certainly. It would be great to see 6+ from all these guys. They're all capable of doing so. But that is where the rubber meets the road. They have to get out of the chute better and give this team a chance to play their game. This is a team that slugs. It's a team that puts up crooked numbers at a moment's notice. That's what they do. And when they do walk and when they do get a cheap hit the opposite way, boy, it sets the table because there's, as I've talked about, Jason, there's 6 guys there and not all of them have to hit every day. All you need is a couple of them to hit. And if a couple of them hit and they happen to hit with guys on base because the bottom of the order gets on base or wherever they find those runners on base, Crawford kind of sits down there. He's sneaky as far as what he gives this team. I love Crawford. But yeah, they're finding a hot bat in Polanco. And Rodriguez has had a tremendous second half and a very good September. But it could be somebody else. And certainly Naylor is the guy that if you need to win a ball game or you need a big hit, he's the guy. He's the proven bat that can deliver in a big moment. I'll say that. I think he and Crawford are the 2 clutchest guys in this team. That would be my opinion. Not to take anything away from any of the other guys. But getting back to your point, starting pitching. They're going to pitch in heat in Kansas City, and they're going to pitch in the bandbox in Houston, although Houston's not near to the offense that they've been in the past. Kansas City, yes, Salvador Perez and Witt and Garcia, they all hit right-handed. Those are the 3 best bats, but they got Pasquantino and that number of lefty bats. So they're going to have lefty bats, and they're going to have hot weather, okay? We saw the weather in Kansas City yesterday in the football game. It was hot. It's going to be warm there, okay? But that's a big part. That's not a tiny little Tampa park. That's a big park. So that will work in their favor, where the big fly ball, they could still get away with it there.
Okay, lefty bats, hot weather. They all they don't all have the same pitches. But if you look ahead to that series with Kansas City, it's Gilbert, Miller, Castillo. What is it that they need to do then against that?
Well, all Gilbert has to do is be a little bit more efficient. He's probably he's good at getting lefties. I think that with Logan, just the will to hit a spot with his fastball a little bit more, to use his fastball a little bit more. And we've seen stretches where he does that. And then when he's able to throw that fastball early in the count and get ahead, then he just puts him in a compromised position. He has the nastiest out pitch, maybe one of the nastiest out pitches in baseball, certainly in the American League, with the split finger. It's a fork ball is what it is. He's got a nasty fork ball. And with that long lever coming down the mound and that deception, that fork ball is tough to hit. And lefties, righties, it doesn't matter. That's his equalizer against lefties.
Yeah.
Is the fork ball. Miller, the nice thing about what Miller's done is he's stabilized the 5 spot. He hasn't been spectacular. Now, his last start, he did strike out 11. I think you just have to not expect the moon from him. Just try to give the club a nice solid 5-6 innings. You give up 3 or 4 runs, it's okay. Don't let the game get out of hand. Pitch with confidence, pitch aggressively. And then Castillo, his last 2 turns have been very good. Now, he has trouble away from home. He has trouble against left-hand hitters. What have we seen him trying to do? He's trying to throw more changeups and sliders early in the count. If he's able to do that and then save the high fastball for 2 strikes, that's a good formula for him. He needs a bigger mix of off-speed pitches to help equalize, because he doesn't have 97, 98 anymore in his back pocket. But these guys all have to be able to pitch better against lefties, be ready for hot weather, and it's going to be a challenging week. And this club will be led by their pitching. No matter what they did at the deadline, no matter how much offensive firepower they have, it still comes down to the strength of this team, which is starting pitching.
Yeah, I did think this homestand, it reassured me or made me feel a little bit comfortable where the starters were at, because I thought 3 guys that you were having questions about as the season's winding down, I think all did a pretty good job. But we'll get to Kirby in a second. But you mentioned Castillo, the bounce back there on Friday night. He gave him an earned run in 6 innings and looked great. You mentioned Miller. He struck out 11 there on Thursday. Even Gilbert, to a degree, feels like in the last few starts has turned a corner. But to your point, still hasn't gotten into that 7th inning. It's been 6 innings, and then he's coming out. Let's go to George Kirby, who was the latest guy who, again, had been in a funk, Bill. He really was. He was in a funk, and they're going to need George Kirby down the stretch, obviously. I think he's going to pitch at least 2 more times. He's going to pitch in the Houston series. What did we see from George Kirby on Sunday afternoon? Career high 14 strikeouts. He looked angry. He looked motivated. He had the strut going. What did you see in a difference with him?
I think he had a decided advantage against the opponent that didn't have any left-hand hitting. It's a team that George has really dominated. He had 14 strikeouts or 13 strikeouts earlier against them. And then, of course, 14 this time around. So many right-hand hitters, only 2 left-hand hitters. Sean Wells not in the lineup, so they're featuring Davidson and Makata. That's not much left-hand hitting. That's another reason why they just own the Angels. They just have no left-hand hitting whatsoever. And, he got ahead. His fastball had another tick or 2 on it. He pitched at the top line brilliantly. He spotted his fastball perfectly. He had good breaking stuff. And it was just the old 1-2. He was just fastball slider. You got no chance. And once he got going, he gets into a rhythm, and that guy is like a machine. He is a strike throwing machine. Now, what we've seen from him is he loses a little bit of confidence when he struggles. Then he tries to pitch off the edge of the strike zone. Then he loses the count. Then we've seen him actually walk a few guys, and he needs to get back to just being aggressive in the strike zone, using the top line, throwing his breaking stuff. Now, what will he have to add? He needs to continue to throw the changeup. He did his last turn. He threw his changeup a little bit more, even though it wasn't a great turn before that start. and it showed some promise. And he's going to need that pitch. He's going to need to throw it on 1-0 and 2-1 here and there against those left-hand hitters to keep them off this fastball. So I just think that, the ebb and flow of baseball is funny. We get to September, the weather cools. You get through that tough month of August. Pitchers always suffer in August, and it all of a sudden feels like you're renewed. September's a much better pitching month, and you're also going to see teams that have said uncle, and so you just don't have the same grit you're getting on the other side of the competition. We'll see where Kansas City is. They're playing 500 baseball. They've been a good team, but they know they're not in it. They've got some nice players, and of course, Houston's lurking at the end of the week, and that's going to be huge. But that's what I see with Kirby. Kirby's got all the equipment. He has a little bit of he gets upset with himself. He needs to mature that way. He needs to dig his heels in a little bit more and understand what he has to do when he starts to struggle. So these are things you learn to, if you're going to be, he's a good pitcher, you're going to be a great pitcher. You want to be a great pitcher, those are the things you have to polish up. A little more change up, a little more emotional maturity, and understanding what you have to do in a tough situation.
Bill, it's hard not to look past Kansas City, and I know they're not going to, but we can, because it doesn't matter. I'm not playing, but it is probably a hard mentality. I'm coming at this almost of a football perspective, because you hear this in football. Don't look ahead to the next week of opponent, right. But it has to be hard for them, and it has to be something that Dan Wilson and his coaches have to guard these guys against a little bit, because they know what's on the horizon, and I know that they know Kansas City is there, but their eyes, in its human nature, it's set on Houston on Friday. What are those? You've been in situations like this. How do you get your tunnel focus for the opponent at hand and not looking ahead what's looming at the end of the week?
Players are creatures of habit. They really are. As much as we see the bigger picture, Jason, we're looking ahead at matchups. We're looking at the standings. We're sorting all the cards like in this conversation we're having. They are so much more myopic than that. It is the next day. It is my routine the next day. And if you're the hitter, you're looking at Waka. Waka's pretty tough. He's got a changeup. He's pretty crafty. He's having a pretty good year. I'm thinking about Waka. If I'm the pitching staff, I'm thinking about their lineup, and they're a little bit on the aggressive first pitch kind. This is what you're thinking about. You're not even thinking about even the next day against Kansas City. You're not even thinking about the standings. You're not thinking about any of that. All this stuff that's existing out here beyond their focus is where we live. So, yeah, I think the players will be fine. It's not going to be this big chalk talk by Dan Wilson. He really, has his coaching staff, in their spots doing what they're supposed to do. He's just a big picture guy. Probably doesn't say a ton, goes around, talks to the players individually, but not necessarily where you're crowding them in a big room and going through a whole pregame pitch that you might see before a football game. You're just not going to see that.
Yeah. Well, it's we can look ahead to it, obviously, and it's going to start off with a great first game with Brian Wu going against Hunter Brown. I mean, you got the best on the best, right, to start it off. I mean, that's what you want, right? In races like this, in competition like this, you want the best versus the best, Bill, and we're going to get it right out of the gate.
Yeah, Wu has been some kind of spectacular. His last turn was just, he just overwhelmed the Angels. The 13 strikeouts, 14 wins this year. I mean, he's become the number one pitcher on this staff. He's your number one guy. The Mariners get to the playoffs, he's going to be your lead dog. There's no question. He made the All-Star team. Yep. The numbers have been so consistent and so spectacular. It's such a remarkable story. A guy that was a converted infielder that pitched just a little bit in college and wasn't very good, and kind of quietly marched his way through the minor leagues and suddenly burst on the scene. He has there's a couple things. He's a very good athlete. He's smart. And he's got this Sid Fernandez. Nobody knows who Sid Fernandez is. Maybe you do. He was a pitcher that pitched back in my day in the 80s and 90s with the Mets. He was a Hawaiian guy, kind of portly, left-handed. And he had this weird where he dropped down and his arm slot was really kind of low. And the ball almost came out of his jersey. And when he had a stretch of half a dozen years there where he was the best strikeout pitcher in baseball. He had the best strikeout numbers to innings pitched than anybody in the game. Sid Fernandez. He reminds me a lot of Sid Fernandez in that deception. And Fernandez didn't throw real hard. But Wu throws pretty hard, but it's not how hard he throws. It's that low arm release where the ball looks like it's down the middle and it's just 2 or 3 inches above where the bat is going to be. Hitters just can't seem to adjust. And and he pitches with control. And, his last start, he had some good breaking stuff. He had a good, whatever you want to call it, his sweeper or his slider. I usually just go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm not sure. I know the one that's above 87 is a slider. I'm not sure what the 86 is. I'm pretty sure I know what the 84 is. Is it a sweeper or is it a slider? Does it really matter? It's a breaking pitch.
Yeah.
Even Brian goes, I don't really spin the ball very well. He did his last start, and that was very encouraging for him.
Cal Raleigh, we've gone 18 minutes and I haven't even touched on Cal Raleigh. I mean, that is an error on me. He's had an historic season, Bill. He's now in more historic company, tying Mickey Mantle. He's 2 away from Griffey. You watch him in his post-game interview, and you would think that he's hit his 10th home run of the year. He just does not care. At least that's what he gives off. I do not care. I just care about winning. But he continues to do it, and I think every time we see this and you see him react to another milestone, I think both you and I and others are just left in awe of his humility.
Well, I think over this past week we had Dave Alley on the telecast. I think he was able to draw out the challenges of how hard it is to catch, how hard it is to catch a day game after a night game, how beat up you get. He talked about, the one bruise that he would get on his catching finger and how he had to move his fingers down in his glove to try not to get that one pitch that would hit his index finger. And then once he gets that bone bruise, it never goes away. The wear and tear, what it takes to kind of lift yourself up every game and be ready to catch and be ready to help the pitcher win that day and to get down the squat and the number of innings this guy plays, and he never takes a day off. And then you add the fact that he switch hits and it has now taken on Mickey Mantle's record. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm still thinking that we're kind of like, oh yeah, he's had. I don't think we've given it enough, and there's not enough superlatives about what an incredible feat this is that Cal Raleigh has done, and done it with such humility. And done it with such a team focus. Yeah. Is he the MVP of the league? Darn right he's the MVP of the league. Darn right. Judge missed some time. Too bad for him. I don't care what his average is. This is the guy that's doing it. This is the MVP. I don't think there's even a question.
That's right. Well, we'll see. It has been a fantastic thing to watch. And yes, I think you're right. I think Valley's right. I don't think we understand truly behind the scenes what it takes to play that position day in and day out. Bill Krueger, host of the Old School Baseball podcast. You can find it on your favorite podcast platforms, old_school_MLB. On social media. Check it out. Puts out videos, a ton of videos there on X. All right. Enjoy the week. Can't wait for that Houston series. A week from today, we'll see if they're still in first place, if they've increased it by more than one game, and where they stand as just 12 games remain in the season. Always enjoy our conversations, Bill, and we'll talk again next Monday.
Thank you, Jason. Best time of the year for a fan.
Bill Krueger with us every single Monday. Old School Baseball is the podcast, and he joins us on Mondays. I always appreciate his insight into the world of baseball and behind the scenes. And a strong comment there about Cal Raleigh, who, again, many of us out here would agree that it should be him for the MVP. One last note again on the Mariners, who are off today. Houston and Texas start a 3-game series here on a Monday. Yes, the focus is on the American League West, and all of our focus should be on the American League West. But please don't forget that number 2 seed is out there for them. And I know that the Yankees are ahead of them right now. Detroit is not playing today as well. The Tigers will start a series coming up tomorrow against Cleveland. And yes, it will be difficult. 12 games remaining to make up 3 to tie them, to surpass them. Sure, but it's out there for them. So if they can continue this hot streak, not only can they win the division, but also perhaps get past that wild card round and then just have a break. And no one could use that break more than number 29, who tied Mickey Mantle yesterday for the most home runs there as a catcher. Well, excuse me, there as a switch hitter. Which brings us to, hey, what the puck? And we're going to tie in Cal Raleigh with someone in the baseball world. It's brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Your restoration company will let you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated, make them your first call when those damages affect your commercial or residential property. The phone number, 206-817-8917. Visit them at restoration1.com, North Seattle franchise. I guarantee if this incident, what happened this past weekend in baseball, would have involved Cal Raleigh being the one who knocked down this cameraman, Cal Raleigh would not have had the same reaction as baseball reporter Ken Rosenthal had this weekend. I'm not sure if people saw this or know what I'm talking about. Ken Rosenthal avoided being doused by water, and he backed up, which is fine. And he ended up, when he was backing up, he ended up running into a photographer for the Brewers and knocking him down. He went down, and then Ken Rosenthal, as he is not, gives him the look. Gives him a look of like, what the fuck are you doing here, and why are you bumping into me? Why are you standing right behind me? Do you know who I am? The look on Ken Rosenthal's face is, do you know who I am? And why are you there? And then it gets worse. He walks away, looks back at the cameraman who's picking up his stuff, just doing his job, throws his hands up in the air like, what the F, man, and shakes his head. If Cal Raleigh were the person who backed up because he didn't want to get hit by water and he ran into that cameraman, you know what Cal Raleigh would have done? Cal Raleigh would have done what every decent human being would have done. Would have extended his hand out and picked up the person and apologized for knocking them over. Not what Ken Rosenthal did. You're a reporter. You're not that big of a deal. Stop thinking, like many reporters out there, that you're the subject, that you're the reason people are watching or listening to a certain sporting event. Because you aren't. You're there to document it, not the star. And I know Ken Rosenthal came out with an apology today. I watched it. I'm not going to play it. And you're going to, why you're not going to play it? Because I find it disingenuous of his apology. He's laughing during it. He doesn't think it's a big deal. Even at one point to say, guys, you don't understand. I was on live TV. You weren't doing anything at that point once you had knocked him over and the guy got splashed with water. Takes 2 seconds out of your just very important job, to interview him and be like, hey, talk about that great win. Extend a hand out and pick him up. But you didn't do that. Then you made an excuse for it today. It's really hard for people just to be normal and genuine. And the thing about Ken Rosenthal, not knowing him at all, read his work, does a great job of reporting and covering baseball. That incident right there of how Ken Rosenthal treated that person in that moment, and we all have bad moments, that gave you a window in how he acts and how he probably treats others. right there. How we treated that person. But again, why I brought up the two in the same is Cal Raleigh. What sets Cal apart and what we talked about with Bill Krueger is this man's humility and the way he continues to put others above himself. That's the contrast with someone like Ken Rosenthal. Because Ken Rosenthal didn't put anybody above himself this weekend. It was all about him. Cal Raleigh's never been about him. And Cal Raleigh's a big fucking deal, Ken Rosenthal, and you are not. All right, that's Hey What the Puck. Brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Your restoration company lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. They are locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Big thanks, everybody watching and listening today, as always. Thank you to all our sponsors, Limback Lumber, Clean Streak, Brotherton Cadillac, Georgetown Brewery, Angry Beaver as well. Also, John Howie Steak and Restoration One. Today's Daily Puck Drop, find it up on YouTube. When you're there, please subscribe to the channel, like the channel. Also, find the Daily Puck Drop on your favorite podcast platforms. And you can find everything at pucksports.com, including signing up to become a member of the Pucks Posse. You support the free daily content we do. In addition, we give you bonus shows for your support, like our coverage of the Mariners with our MLB insider Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times, our monthly podcast, The Sports Pit with Steve Sandmeyer and Matt Stretch Johnson, KJ Arntz with Mitch Levy every Thursday, and check out the Graz with Gas Take 5 podcast, which is now produced by Puck Sports. New episodes every Monday on YouTube and all podcast platforms. Just search Graz with Gas Take 5. You can find it up at pucksports.com. By the way, today, they are not releasing it today. They're going to release it tomorrow. So if you're on the lookout for the Graz with Gas Take 5 podcast, going to come out tomorrow. All right, that's it for us on a Monday. Very newsy Monday. Tomorrow, a Tuesday show. Jim Duquette is back with us. We talk more Mariners baseball. 12 games remaining in the season for them. We'll talk Cal Raleigh versus Aaron Judge. MVP debate going down to the wire. Can the Mariners continue to lead the American League West? Tons of coverage there. Tons to cover with Jim Duquette. And then college football tomorrow. We'll talk more about the disastrous loss of the Cougs to North Texas with John Canzano. UCLA's got a new head coach, or will. They fired Deshaun Foster. Talk Apple Cup, talk Civil War, all of it tomorrow with John Canzano. All right, we'll talk to you on Tuesday's edition of the Daily Puck Drop. Until then, as always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!